cap savings all the way through 2029. And the total savings they'll get on a $230 million contract is more than $88 million, thanks to the insurance policy that they purchased with the Watson contract.
The Cleveland Browns just got the kind of news that changes how people look at the Deshaun Watson disaster. Not because the trade suddenly worked, not because the contract suddenly looks smart, not because Watson gave Cleveland the return they paid for, but because Pro Football Talk found something hidden inside the financial wreckage. The Browns are reportedly getting more than $88 million in salary cap credits tied to injury insurance on Watson's contract. And that means the most criticized contract in football may not have crushed Cleveland's future as badly as everyone thought. The football pain is still real, the embarrassment is still real, but the cap story just got a lot more complicated. And that is why this report exploded. Fans heard $88 million and immediately thought the Browns just got saved overnight. But Florio's point is more detailed than that. This is not some magic deposit that instantly fixes the roster. These are salary cap credits tied to insurance. They are spread across multiple years. And that matters because the Browns are not just trying to escape one bad deal. They are trying to build an entire new future while still carrying the weight of the old mistake. That is the real story. Cleveland did not erase the Watson era. It found a way to breathe under it.
What Pro Football Talk is claiming is that NFLPA records show more than $88 million in cap credits for Deshaun Watson injuries for the Cleveland Browns. Now, what these cap credits would mean is that over a period of time, the Browns in total will save about $88 million.
This is where the Watson contract has to be put back on trial. The Browns gave him a fully guaranteed $230 million deal. They traded major draft capital. They took the public backlash. They took the football risk. And for most of the deal, the return never matched the price. Injuries, missed games, inconsistent play, constant questions. It became the kind of contract people used as a warning around the league. But now the insurance piece changes the financial conversation. It does not change the football result. It changes how much damage Cleveland may have actually absorbed on the cap. Cleveland did not win the Watson trade because an insurance policy softened the hit. They still lost years of stability. They still lost picks. They still lost time. They still had to answer for one of the most controversial moves in recent NFL history. But front offices care about survival. And if the cap credits give the Browns more room to move, then the next chapter becomes much more interesting. And that next chapter starts at quarterback. Because the cap credits are not just a money story, they are a quarterback story. Watson still has to prove he can be the answer. Shedeur Sanders is pushing, Dylan Gabriel is still in the room, Taylon Green is still developing. Cleveland does not have the luxury of pretending the position is solved. The Browns can get cap relief, but they still need a real starter. Money can open the door, it cannot throw the ball.
I think Deshaun's in the lead, but I think Shedeur is there as well. I don't know whether the Browns want you to think that or whether it's a legit competition. I don't understand, and I'm not saying, I'm not one of those people where I don't want to see Shedeur or Deshaun. If Deshaun can play, that's great. Take me to the playoffs. But if he's not part of your future, I don't know why the Browns are wasting any time.
That is what makes this so dangerous for Watson. The financial pressure may be changing, but the football pressure is not. If anything, it gets worse. Because if the Browns now have more flexibility, they don't have to keep forcing the old plan just because the contract was heavy. They can make the football decision cleaner. If Watson wins the job, he has to win it on the field. If Shedeur keeps closing the gap, the Browns have room to think differently. That is the part nobody wants to say too loudly. Cap relief can make it easier to move emotionally from a mistake. And this is why Shedeur's name keeps coming back into every Watson conversation. If the Browns were completely trapped by Watson's contract, every quarterback debate would feel fake. But if the cap situation is softer than expected, then performance becomes louder than money. That helps Shedeur. It helps the front office. It helps Todd Monken. It gives the Browns a better chance to make the decision based on who actually runs the offense best, not who cost the most, not who was supposed to save the franchise, who actually gives Cleveland the best chance to win now.
I thought the quarterbacks functioned unbelievable today in terms of checking plays, getting us out of cans. I thought that was a highlight today, at least offensively. Defensively was the 3 turnovers. We certainly can't do that offensively, but obviously turning the ball over 3 times today, throwing it, but man, it was awesome.
Todd Monken is the person who has to turn all of this into football. Cap credits do not matter if the offense still looks broken. Insurance relief does not matter if the quarterback play is messy. The Browns still need rhythm. They need clean reads. They need easy throws. They need the run game to protect the quarterback. They need young weapons to grow. And they need the starter to stop giving the defense impossible jobs. That is why the cap relief is only step one. The next step is building something that actually works on Sundays.
I think Quinshon Judkins, if he's healthy, can be a really good player, maybe even better than that. I think Harold Fannin is already a really good player and maybe a superstar, and I know this receiving core is going to be upgraded. So these guys haven't taken a single training camp snap yet, right, Jay? But Denzel Boston was the unquestioned star of the spring.
This is where the money can finally become useful. If the Browns have extra flexibility over the next few years, they can support the young offense better. Quinshon Judkins needs blocking. Dylan Sampson needs touches. Casey Conception needs manufactured space. Harold Fannin Jr. needs a role. Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman need consistency from the quarterback. Cap room should not just sit there as a headline. It has to become protection, depth, weapons, and structure. That is how the Browns turn financial relief into actual wins. And that is why the offensive line matters so much. Joel Bitonio retiring changed the room. It removed leadership. It removed stability. It reminded everyone that the Browns are not just dealing with Watson's contract, they are dealing with a roster transition. If Cleveland wants any quarterback to survive, it has to rebuild the front the right way. That is where cap credits become more than accounting. They become a chance to fix the mistakes around the quarterback. If the line is bad, every QB looks worse. If the line is stable, the whole competition becomes more honest.
How much cap space did the Browns save due to the insurance policy on Deshaun Watson for him missing the entire 2025 season? I don't know the specific answer, but it has to be significant. They had a policy that pays out millions if he suffers an injury that keeps him from playing.
This is also why Florio's report connects to the bigger Browns plan. Cleveland can now think beyond damage control. They can ask bigger questions. Can they keep enough defensive talent? Can they add a veteran lineman? Can they protect a young quarterback? Can they build around Shedeur if he wins? Can they move on from Watson without feeling like the cap is choking every decision? That is why $88 million in credits really means not freedom from the past, but room to plan around it.
Deshaun Watson, Browns quarterback. Report came out yesterday. He's back in the Cleveland facility, working out in advance of training camp. Now, the players are off now. The players don't have to show up, but they can if they want to. They can choose to show up.
But the Watson part is not finished yet. That is what makes this story complicated. He is still in the building. He is still part of the room. He is still trying to prove the Browns were not completely wrong. And if he wins the job, the whole discussion changes again. Maybe the cap relief gives Cleveland patience. Maybe it gives Watson one more fair shot. Maybe it helps the team build enough around him to see what is left. But if he struggles, the financial excuse will not protect him the same way anymore. The Browns will have options, and options are dangerous for a veteran trying to hold a job. That is why this story is bigger than money. It's about power shifting inside the organization. For years, Watson's contract controlled the Browns' conversation. Every roster move had to be viewed through that deal. Every quarterback question had to bend around that deal. Every cap problem brought people back to that deal. But now the credits change the temperature. Watson's contract is still massive. It is still controversial. It is still part of the story. But it may not be the handcuffs people thought it was.
Shedeur already did enough that Dylan Gabriel's out of the concussion protocol and he's getting a second start. The plan was always in Cleveland. They wanted to see both these guys. They got an extra first-round pick. They got all these resources at the position in 2026. They also were in a unique position to draft two guys in the mid-rounds because quarterbacks just weren't coming off the board. They always intended to get an evaluation of both players through the season.
And that gives Cleveland a choice it did not look like it had before. The Browns can stop acting like they need one desperate answer. They can evaluate Watson. They can evaluate Shedeur. They can keep Gabriel in the mix. They can protect flexibility. They can build through the roster instead of letting one contract freeze the whole franchise. That does not mean they are saved. It means they are not buried. So no, the Deshaun Watson deal is not suddenly a genius move. It is not suddenly a win. It is not suddenly something Browns fans should celebrate like a championship. The football results still matter. The missed time still matters. The lost picks still matter. The frustration still matters. But the cap credit report changes the ending. It tells fans the Browns may have found an escape hatch inside the worst part of the contract. It tells the AFC North that Cleveland may have more flexibility than expected. It tells Shedeur Sanders that the quarterback battle can become more about performance than price. It tells Watson that the money may not protect him forever. And it tells the front office that the next move has to be smarter than the last one. That is the real pressure now. Because when a team is trapped, fans expect excuses. But when a team gets flexibility, fans expect answers. The Browns got financial air. Now they have to breathe the right way. They have to protect the quarterback. They have to fix the line. They have to build the offense. They have to stop wasting defensive windows. And most importantly, they have to decide who actually deserves to lead the team. Watson's contract once looked like the wall Cleveland could not climb. Now there may be a door, but walking through it is not enough. The Browns still have to prove they know where they are going.